Well, now that we got square roots down, let's think a little bit about cube root functions. So I have a couple of functions up here. One's an f of x function, one's a g of x function. Again, we're only using f and g's just to kind of help us understand which function I'll be working on. So let's look at the first one that's designated f of x. So we have the function f of x equals a cube root of x minus 2. And I want to evaluate it at 127. So what's f of 127? Well, 127 seems like an odd number, doesn't it? Well, we just chose it because it's a number that's going to kind of help the math work out a little bit more cleaner, so you can see the principles that are involved as we start to deal with some different types of problems that we'll see. So everywhere I see an x, I'm going to put in 127. So the cube root of 127 minus 2, 127 minus 2 is 125. And now you can see, okay, the cube root of 125, I know that. What times itself 3 times equals 125? That is 5. 5 times 5 times 5. So the cube root of 125 equals 5. And that's the solution for that particular cube root function. Let's look at that second cube root function that I have, g of x. You may have already have it done in the time I was writing the problem down. So g of x equals the cube root of 8x minus 8. And I want to evaluate it at negative 7. So everywhere I see an x, I'm going to put in a negative 7, 8 times a negative 7 minus an 8. All right, you have to help me out. 8 times a negative 7 is a negative 56 minus an 8. 3 equals negative 56 times a negative 8, or subtract the negative 8. Looks like it's negative 64. So I have the cube root of negative 64. I have a negative in the root now. Well, whoa. Well, before you told me we couldn't do anything with negatives underneath the roots. Well, that's true, but that was a square root. Here I have a cubed root, and I can think of many numbers times themselves 3 times that produces a negative number. Like negative 2 times negative 2 times negative 2. Well, that produces a negative 8. So maybe I can think of a number when it times itself 3 times, an odd number, 3 times it gives me a negative 64. And the number I can think of is negative 4. Negative 4 times negative 4 is 16. And then 16 times the negative 4 gives me my negative 4. So it appears that with negative or with odd root functions, in this particular case a cube root function, that if I get a negative somewhere in the mix, I might be able to deal with it and I can continue on with the problem. That's kind of cool.